Hello everyone, welcome back. And I know that everyone is very excited about our next guest, which is why there is such a packed room. So, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, has held various roles over the years. Actor, Duchess, obviously, podcaster, philanthropist. She has her own TV show. She has executive produced. She recently added a new title to her resume, which is why she's here with us today, founder. And that's because earlier this year, she launched to discuss this newest venture and also how Meghan plans to leverage her incredibly significant influence for long-lasting impact in the business world and beyond. Please welcome them to the stage.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is so nice to see you. And Meghan, thank you for being here with us
today.
Thank
you for having me. It's great. Hi, everybody.
You've been all over the place, and we were talking backstage about how, yes, you've been to Europe. You were just in New York, which, congratulations, you just won a humanitarian award for your work with online safety for parents and children. And you made it home for one day to see your kids.
Yes, I had to. We were talking about that because everyone said, oh, you must have gone from Paris straight to New York. I said, no, I need to see my babies. So went back to California for a day and then continued on. But I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you.
Of course, and always job number one.
The air was electric long before she appeared. The Fortune magazine stage was alive with anticipation, an unspoken current rippling through the crowd, a fusion of admiration, respect, and wonder. Then came the words that changed the room's energy in an instant. I know everyone is very excited about my next guest, which is why there is such a packed room. The moment the name Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, was spoken, the audience erupted. Cheers, applause, and a chorus of affection filled the hall. It wasn't simply an introduction. It was a homecoming. Meghan, radiant and poised, stepped into the spotlight as though the very air around her shimmered. Her presence was not just seen, it was felt. She smiled, waved softly, and as the applause grew louder, her eyes reflected warmth, that unmistakable grace that belongs to women who know who they are, where they've been, and what they stand for. The Duchess, elegant in her minimal yet commanding ensemble, exuded both humility and quiet power. For days, whispers had circled that Meghan was travelling again. Many had speculated she had flown directly from Europe to New York, but in true Meghan fashion, her heart had led her elsewhere first. Before stepping into the whirlwind of cameras, lights, and interviews, she had flown from Paris to California, to her sanctuary, to hold her children, Archie and Lilibet, in her arms. I couldn't imagine being that close and not seeing them, she had said to a friend earlier. They are always my grounding. Those who know Meghan know this well. Her motherhood is her compass, her steady centre. She doesn't separate the woman the world sees from the mother her children know. When she boarded her flight from Paris, her heart was already on the West Coast. She arrived quietly, without fanfare, as the sun melted into the Santa Barbara sky. Archie's laughter greeted her before her feet even touched the gravel path. Lilibet ran toward her, arms open, curls bouncing, a portrait of joy. Only after that sacred reunion, only after kisses and bedtime stories, did she board her flight to New York. And that was why, when she finally walked into the Fortune event, she carried a glow no highlighter could mimic, the glow of love, family, and purpose. As Meghan took her seat on stage, the host smiled in awe, unable to contain her admiration. "You bring such light with you, Meghan," she said, half in jest but fully in truth. The Duchess chuckled, her laughter as gentle as it was confident. "I think that light comes from being surrounded by good energy, by people who believe in kindness, community, and possibility," she replied. The crowd leaned in, captivated. Every eye was fixed on her. Every camera captured her elegance. And yet, despite the grandeur, she spoke with the same natural sincerity she had always possessed, the same warmth that made millions around the world fall in love with her from the start. Her words carried the calm certainty of a woman who has seen the storm, walked through it, and chosen light. There was no bitterness, only wisdom, no defensiveness, only clarity. Meghan spoke about compassion, leadership, and the responsibility of influence, not as an abstract ideal, but as a living daily practice. "I think influence means knowing your impact," she said softly. "It's knowing that your words, your choices, your silence, all of it echoes somewhere. So why not let it echo with kindness?" Applause followed again, not polite but passionate. The room seemed to understand that they weren't merely listening to a celebrity or a former royal. They were witnessing a global voice of empathy, a leader in the truest sense. What followed was not a conversation, but a communion. The host asked about her current projects, but Meghan wove her answers into something larger, a tapestry of empowerment, motherhood, creativity, and global sisterhood. "When women uplift each other," she said, "it changes everything. I've seen it across countries, across cultures. The thread that connects us is hope, and hope, when nurtured, becomes action." People nodded, smiled, some even teared up. There was something profoundly moving about seeing a woman once vilified by tabloids standing on her own, thriving, joyful, and unapologetically radiant. Meghan didn't need validation. She was the validation. Proof that grace outlasts gossip, that truth outshines lies, that love silences hate. Later in the evening, during a quieter moment backstage, an audience member whispered to a journalist, "When she speaks, you feel safe, you feel inspired. She reminds you that strength can be gentle." That, perhaps, is Meghan's greatest gift, the power to soften hearts while strengthening souls. The Duchess spoke about the importance of balance, of staying grounded while the world spins. "Before coming here, I stopped at home," she revealed tenderly. "I had just come from Paris, and before heading to New York, I wanted to see my babies. They give me perspective on everything. Archie asked me what I do when I go talk to people. I told him, I talk about making the world kinder. And he smiled. That's enough for me." The audience melted. Cameras flashed. But there was silence too, the kind of silence that comes when people are deeply moved. From that point, the event became more than a professional gathering. It became a shared moment of human connection. Women in the crowd reached for one another's hands. Journalists put down their pens and simply listened. Meghan had turned a conference into a community. When the host asked what continues to motivate her, Meghan smiled. Purpose, love. The belief that no matter how loud the noise gets, we still have the power to write our own stories. And when you live in truth, you don't need to prove anything. You just be. Those words lingered long after the applause faded. As the session ended, the hall erupted once again. People rose to their feet. Meghan stood gracefully, placing a hand on her heart in gratitude. Flashbulbs flickered like stars, but her expression stayed serene. She waved softly, not as a performer, but as a woman saying, "Thank you for seeing me." And perhaps that was the unspoken truth of the night. The world had seen her all along, but now it was finally understanding her. Outside, New York glowed in the autumn dusk. Photographers caught glimpses of her leaving the venue, her smile calm, her stride assured, her aura magnetic. As she entered her car, she turned once more to wave, and the cheers resumed, echoing down the street like a love song to resilience. In her silence, she spoke volumes. In her poise, she embodied everything the modern world hungers for: authenticity, compassion, and quiet strength. When she reached her hotel later, sources said she made a quick video call home. Archie was already asleep, clutching his toy elephant. Lilibet waved through the screen before nestling into bed. Meghan whispered goodnight, her eyes tender, her heart full. Moments later, she stood by the window, looking out over the Manhattan skyline. The city that never sleeps, watching a woman who refuses to dim. She had come from Paris, flown across continents, touched home, kissed her children, and then lifted spirits on another coast, all in the rhythm of her own grace. That is Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, a woman of movement, meaning, and magic. By the time the Fortune event trended online, the hashtags told the story. Meghan Magic, the Duchess returns, Fortune Summit Queen, from Paris with love. Millions watched clips of her entrance, her words, her smile. Journalists struggled to find the right phrase to capture the atmosphere, but one headline said it best. She walked in, and the world remembered why they fell in love. Meghan's appearance was not a royal duty. It was something purer, a moment of purpose. It wasn't about crowns or titles, it was about humanity. And as she left New York, the city's skyline shimmering behind her, it was clear. She had not only attended a summit, she had lifted it. In the end, what remains is not the noise, not the flashes, not even the applause, but the echo of her message: be kind, be real, be the light. And that, the world realised once more, is exactly who Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, has always been.
The submission itself sounds nice. And to my amazing and peculiar Sussex family, thank you all for watching our videos and tuning in to Daily Diaries Friday's update. Keep it light, keep it there, and see you next time in our next episode. Bye bye. May you have a good day and a good time. Keep shining. Bye bye.